Okay, so we are looking at the Miami Woods Orange course, and Isis and Ernesto uploaded their route from their GPS, and we are going to take a look at how they tackled the Orange course, talk about some of the things that they did right, and a few places made just a couple of bobbles, but overall they had a really great run and appear to me to be running far beyond their level. They just started orienteering with us this year, and they've very quickly progressed from beginner to orange level course. And I think you'll see they did a great job of tackling this. So let's take a look at their route. So here we see them set off headed towards this control number 1. You'll see they took some extra climb, but then came back. They first started to head out the trail here, and they saw how thick this green was, and they decided to come back to this intersection of the trail and the open area and use that as their attack point into number 1, this distinct tree. That was super smart. Once they get more comfortable with cross-country navigation, at some point what they might do is get to a point where they would come off this bend in the vegetation boundary here, the open land, maybe use this ditch line as a collecting feature, and then take a compass bearing off the end of that ditch line once they get up to advanced level courses. But for where they are right now, this is exactly what they should have done, using that gnome point right there at the trail intersection as their attack point. So that was super smart, and it enabled them to hit the first control pretty cleanly. Looks like their split was about 434. So let's see how they head to number 2. Ding. Okay, so they were bold enough, instead of going back up to the trail and around, which was one of their options, the really safe navigation option, they just headed straight cross country right through this open woods. And what they did that was super smart was they aimed off to the right of the control. They had this big trail as their backstop, their catching feature. And so they aimed off to the right, knew that when they hit the trail, they needed to turn left in order to go to that intersection. So that was a beautiful use of a catching feature combined with aiming off. Hit the trail, they didn't hesitate, turned left, and they knew that number 2 would be right at the intersection. So that was really excellent. Let's see how they get to number 3. Bam. So again, they came down the trail, nice fast movement. As soon as they got to the edge of that heavy green, and then you can also see there's an indistinct path right here, they used that to tell them when to leave the trail. And then they just came right around the edge of that, using that vegetation boundary as a bit of a handrail around into number 3. Hit that one really nicely too. So now they come down, they hit the trail, headed for number 4. And we see right here, they overshot the trail they wanted for number 4, but they very quickly recovered. They got to this next more obvious trail intersection, headed south, and it's clear they knew what they had done wrong there because they very quickly came down and over. So they knew they had overshot it. They compensated for that and still hit number 4 pretty nicely. Right here, they used the trail in and out to number 5. And then it's a trail run up the hill to 6. Number 7. Watch what they do here. Did you see that? They took the trail up. They could have stayed on the trail around, but instead they saw this intersection right here. They knew that that was the point where they wanted to cut across, and they were able to shortcut that extra distance. The woods there weren't too bad, and they hit that number 7 control really nicely. Now they're going to take the trail around. And right there, I don't know if that was intentional or not, you can see that they went to the 9 control first before they backtracked to their number 8. I suspect maybe that was not intentional. It may be that they wanted to come off this bend in the trail or rather this one. It may be they were thinking they were coming off this bend in the trail when they saw it. And in fact, they were coming off this bend and saw it. But fortunately, they checked their control code. They realized they were at number 9. So then it was just a quick trip up the stream to collect 8. Now they go back and hit 9. And now we see they looked a little bit disoriented about which trail they were on there, but they used the creek crossing of the trail, reoriented themselves, and ended up finding number 10 pretty handily after that. And then they used that same navigation tool of aiming off. They've got their catching feature here with this trail. So they aimed off, hit the trail, knew that they were going to turn right and head into number 11. And now they take the safe trail route out. Not sure what they did there. They headed to 13 first. Don't know if maybe they saw that through the woods and it served as a decoy, pulled them off their track. Not sure why they wouldn't have stayed on the trail around to 12. Maybe they were just jumping ahead and didn't realize they still needed to go get 12. But again, they checked their control code, so they knew they had gone to the wrong one. They make their way back to 12. And now, oh, wrong way, heading out of 12. That's really their biggest, oh no, you know what's happened there. I think even though they were very close to 12, that control, which I had on my course as well, that control was hard to see from the north. It was on the south side of the rootstock, I think was the clue. And so coming at it from that direction, it wasn't visible. So I think they overshot it is what happened. And they overshot it by quite a lot before they realized they needed to turn around and go back. And coming from this direction, from the south, it was easily visible on this side of the rootstock. So that's what happened there. They've grabbed it. Now they're back to 13. And now they're up and around 14. No problem. Look at them moving nicely. Right there, they really spiked 15 off of this trail creek crossing. They used that as their attack point. They hit that little gully really nicely. That was nicely done. 16. Another really nice bold move there. Instead of hitting the gully and taking that sort of slow, thick gully up to 16, they decided they were going to take the much quicker trail around, and they got off the trail perfectly when they needed to. That was a little bit risky unless they could see it through the woods. Maybe if you're pace counting, so you know how far you need to go along the trail, it would have been really easy to accidentally go a little too far and then overshoot it. But maybe they were pace counting, maybe they could see it from the woods. Either way, they spiked that control too. So that was really nicely done. 17, trail run around. Now they'll take the trail. And look at that, they nailed 18 too. That was really nicely done. They had this nice attack point here where the trails come together, and they appeared to have no trouble at all, whether they took a bearing or maybe they could. That was pretty open woods there and pretty visible from a distance, so maybe they just saw that once they were going the right direction, and then bam, right into the finish. So as you can see, a lot of things that they did right here, and they used a lot of the techniques that we've been talking about for navigation. So it's great to see them advancing and doing so nicely. We hope to see them in a lot of meets yet to come.